Hey guys, how's it going? Wooxie Gaming here, and today I'm going to be showing you my physical-based Amazon build for Season 8. Now, in this build I'll be covering a couple different item sets, ranging from a fairly budget to more of the expensive. The reason why I'm going to be doing this is that the Amazon can really start scaling well at a fairly budget level, and she scales extremely high as well. Not as high as like a Demon Slayer or something, but in the video above, if you can see, I am doing like a 800 something wormhole with 0 hero level and all 100% items. So she can definitely get up there in terms of damage. And her damage is actually really consistent. So I really like that about the physical Amazon compared to the other specs with it. And one thing that I really like about the physical Amazon compared to the lightning or the poison is that your spearnage, which is the AoE spear attack you have, does quite a bit of damage. So you are more of just the caster, you're sitting back, auto attacking, casting spears, and just letting your spears just destroy the screen. So it's a lot of fun, and one of the good things about the Amazon too is that it's one of the fastest characters just due to the skill feint, which increases your movement speed above the 300% cap. So Amazon's really good. The physical Amazon is probably the best out of the three builds currently. So definitely keep that in mind. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into the gear. So going over helmets, we have three different options. The first option I'm going to show you is the setup that I have right now. Now, with each setup, my goal is to get 30%, or not 30%, sorry, 50% CDR, that's cooldown reduction, while getting as much fizz damage as possible. So with this setup right here, using the Colossal Avenger, Rift Warrior's Skull, the War God's Wrath, Devil's Cocoon, Rift Eye, Apple Evolution, Tundra Marchers, and the Scuttle Crab Gauntlets, you get quite a bit of damage, and it's really strong because with the Scuttle Crab Gauntlets you get spearnage damage. So your spearage does quite a bit for not having physical damage based gloves, and the Scuttle Crab Gauntlets also give you CDR, so that's nice as well. I also like that you get a lot of max HP with this item, so the other items don't give you as much HP, so it definitely helps. But if you want to do a different setup, you can do the Judge, Jury, Executioner, and then swap out with War Master's Tribal Paws. This will give you slightly more attack speed. It'll give you life and mana per hit, which you already get from the Apple Evolution and from the Rift Warrior's Skull, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But it does give you a little bit fizz damage that way and just a little bit more attack speed. And you get some crit, which isn't really good. We're not really focusing on crit too much, but it does give you a little bit of crit that way. One thing I really do like about the Judge, Jury, and Executioner is that it's a high strength percent helmet, so you do get a lot of strength with this setup as well. Um, and you just get a lot of strength with the setup in general, using the Rift Warrior's Skull, the Devil's Cocoon, Rift Eye. Those are all items that give you a lot of strength percent, same with Apple of Evolution. So just with this setup right now, I'm pushing 171k strength, and that's with 0 points used. Yeah, 0 points used in anything right now. So that's not bad at all. That's quite pretty significant damage. And if you look at the actual damage you're dealing with each hit, just with 100% items, I'm dealing almost a million or a million plus with each hit. So that's pretty good with the War God's Wrath. Pretty good. And with my spearnage is hitting for about 500,000. For Inferno, you're pretty much able to clear anything you want with that. You're really not going to be worrying about this damage until way higher wormholes. And that's like 600, 700 plus. You could be running this setup into a 500, 600 wormhole pretty easily. And for the runes, you're going to be mostly stacking Ox runes. You will stack Von runes for all the CDR percent you're missing on your gear. So it's absolutely imperative you always have 50% CDR. That way you can just sit here and spam your skills. You don't have to worry too much about not spamming them. For example, you just see how easy or how quick that is. There's zero cooldown to it basically. Always having that up. So that's ideally what you want to aim for. Now for the really expensive setup, we would swap to a Genji's Battle Helmet. The reason why, it has CDR and it has a lot of attack speed and fizz on it, so it's a really good item to use. We'd be swapping to the Satan's Precious because of the attack speed. Also gives fizz damage, which is really good. And we're gonna go ahead and swap to the Death's Grasp. Well, wait. Yeah, for this setup we swap to the Death's Grasp. Um, just because we're focusing a lot of our damage on auto attacks and the Spiritage, and we already get plenty of mana per hit just from the Apple of Evolution. However, if you wanted to swap to like the Torch of Shadows, you would have to be forced into the War Master's Travel Pause just due to the mana per hit. It's super important, but for my late game setup, for my absolute best setup, this is what it would look like. I would be using a Genji's Helm, Satan's Precious, Shadow Fury, Devil's Cocoon, Tundra Marchers, War Master's Tribal Pause, and the Torch of Shadows. And with this setup, obviously 49% CDR. You would get 50% CDR if you get any of these items above 100%. So like the Tundra Marchers, you could easily get 26 CDR on those, or just use like another Von Rune or something. But swapping to the Shadow Fury increases your damage quite a bit, as you can see, going from basically the cheap to mid-range setup to the Shadow Fury, you gain a whole million damage, or a whole 500,000 damage on your Spearnage, which is absolutely huge. Let's see with the other setup real quick. I think this will also be around 500,000. And this is going to be with like a fairly budget setup still. So let's do that. So yeah, 900,000 on your Spearnage is still pretty good. Let's see, with the War God's Wrath, should jump down to 500 something. Yeah, 513,000, and this is why I was saying the Scuttle Crab gauntlets are really good. Just because it gives you those Spearnage levels that you're able to just stack a lot of damage that way and run the Colossus Avenger, which actually has more strength, more physical damage, more armor than the Judge, Jury, and Executioner. So personally, this is my favorite setup for the budget. Just because you do get a little bit more Spearnage damage. You lose a little bit of the poison and venom damage, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. And with that said, that pretty much covers all the gear. Some of the charm options you can also use besides an Apple Evolution is like a "Hello, it's me, Steve," but in my opinion, the Apple of Evolution is way better. You're pretty much always going to be using Tundra Marchers. You need the CDR, and using like Scuttle Crab plus Judge, Jury, and Executioner causes you to lose too much physical damage, so that's not really worth it either. So yeah, those are kind of the item setups I like to go with. And with that said, let's go ahead and go over the skill points. Now, I do my skills a little differently than some people. I know that a lot of people will like to put points into rebound just because it's fizz. For me, I choose to put a lot of my points into poisons just because of how much damage the poisons do. For example, right now, Master Poisoner does almost about 90k each hit before I take my strength into account, so about 150, 160,000 damage per second. Well, in Inferno, that's going to pretty much melt anything within a couple of seconds, so just casting a single Spearnage, if that doesn't kill the enemy, the poison will. And I like that for later wormholes as well, because Stacking your poisons allows you to aggro mobs to you a lot easier than just using spearnage and auto attacks. So you can get a lot of free damage on your screen just by pulling all the mobs to the center of the wormhole and just stacking a ton of poison while you're casting your spearnage and your auto attacks. Um, for your hero levels, you do have two options. You can go into either strength or into ancient power. With this setup, I would personally go into strength. For example, I have 175 hero level. This should jump me up to about, I'm guessing 400, 500,000 strength, probably. Yeah, 525,000 strength, which is quite significant. It adds almost a whole another 100,000 to my Master Poisoner. Adds quite a bit to my spearnage. So yeah, stacking strength on this character is really beneficial, and with like the end goal or end game setup, uh, well, let me take a step back. With the cheap setup right now, with like 175 hero points, I'm doing a million per hit. So each time I cast, each one of those, uh, javelins are doing a million damage. So that's quite high. Along with the spearage damage, you're just an absolute machine. But with the expensive setup, I believe we get that much higher. Let's see. Yeah, we get our auto attack damage to 1.4 to 1.8 million, and then the spearage again is 1.2 to 1.3 million, give or take. So yeah, Amazon's a lot of fun. You can scale her really high as physical, and honestly, she's just a really fun character to play and farm on. She's one of the fastest, and with your leap and just the amount of AoE you have on this character, you should just be flying through content. With that said, gonna go ahead and end the video here. If you enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section below. I will be streaming eventually. You can check me out on twitch.tv/WuxieGaming. Other than that, I hope you all have a great day and thanks for watching.